P. Shout out to Joe. Tom, hey, get your mic on. But oh, look at you. Best in show. He is the hall monitor of safety event. He's the hall monitor. Jay is the hall monitor. You're the one who receives the Tom Dimitrevich Award for Safety Excellence. There we go. Look who's here. Michael.
Tom Dimitrevich.
How are you, sir?
I'm wonderful. I'm wonderful.
I know.
Live the dream.
You are best in show?
Best in show.
Is this, so do you bark or do you meow or?
Well, let's not go into that. Okay. But we have a new product here at the Electrical Safety Workshop.
But who are you?
Who am I? Oh,
tell the group.
Well, okay. So I work for the external training team within the services division.
Yep.
So we're responsible for all the customer training on operation of equipment, maintenance of equipment, the fundamentals of design and the engineering aspects, one-line drawing reading or three lines, all the background information. I'm responsible for that team that does all that training for the services group. So when we do that, we have 2 training centers. Warrendale, Pennsylvania, close to your heart, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then Houston, Texas.
Oh, yeah.
It's another facility we use.
Yep.
We have training trailers that we ship all across the U.S.
A training trailer?
Trailers, yes. Yeah.
When you say a trailer, what do you mean?
Well,
explain it. Describe it.
So our first one is a 53-foot semi-trailer.
Okay.
That expands out on both sides. Oh. So it's 53 by 16 foot.
Wow.
Entire classroom in the back.
Wow.
For 8 to 10 people. On top of that, we're also looking at all the equipment that we have. So we have switchgear in it, low voltage switchgear, medium voltage switchgear, dry type transformers, bus duct, MCCs, switchboards,
that's insane.
Panel boards,
Crazy Eddie's insane.
Switches, all in the trailer, right?
All in that one trailer.
In one trailer. Okay. On top of that, you're gonna love this, Tom. It's all wired together as a system, so I can give you the one lines for the system. It's at 120 volts, so it's not 480, it's not 4160.
Right.
No hazard there, no arc flash.
Right.
Self-powered by a generator on board, right?
Wow.
And when you operate the breakers, it works as a real system. So you can take the low voltage switchgear breaker that feeds the bus duct, shut it off, go verify the absence of voltage. If you turned it back on, the voltage would be there.
It's all on wheels.
All on wheels. It is about 51,000 pounds, that trailer rolling down the road.
Do you need someone to drive it?
Oh, yeah.
I'll drive it, baby. I'll do it.
You just need your CDL.
Oh, man.
So we also have 2 other trailers we use filled with different equipment. So every trailer is a little different based on your needs as a customer.
So if any customer or anybody out there who wants training on electrical distribution equipment and they call Mike King and they say, hey, Mike, I want you to come out to Timbuk 3, Arkansas and do a training program for me. I've got, I don't know, however many guys and gals who need to train. You could drive that truck out to that location, set it up, bring out the sides, expand it, bring them on and do a training class.
Absolutely.
That's insane.
So the longest training class we've done so far is 5 days. Just in one trailer's worth of equipment. 5 days. Yep. Just on the equipment in the trailer. And a benefit is when we bring the equipment to you, let's say your workforce is not 5 people, 10 people. Let's say it's 30 people, 40 people, right? You can't afford to lose all of your electricians, facility employees, right? So you could split the class in half or maybe do 3 works of training where we rotate your employees through. And as a special, you're going to love this, Tom. So we charge by hauling cost. We don't rent the trailer to you for training. So if we bring the trailer to you, you pay the one-time fee to get the trailer there.
Yeah.
It sits there for 3 weeks, 3 classes. Maybe we put a break in between the weeks.
Right.
You don't have to pay for all that time.
Wow. And what you're saving is if you have a bunch of people, they're not flying to Pittsburgh or to Houston. They're not spending time in a hotel. They're not buying dinners and buying drinks and all that good stuff.
Who would buy drinks?
None of us. No, none of us. They would, so you're avoiding all of that. That's smart.
Absolutely.
It wasn't my idea. Whose idea was
well,
this?
you know, we don't like to take credit for anything, Tom. It was a joint effort.
It was a joint effort. Okay. That's beautiful. Yeah. That is beautiful.
Yeah. And then on top of that, so let's say you bought a piece of switchgear that's not Eaton. Maybe it's...
Oh, that was my next question.
Well, I was going to say, maybe it's somebody else's switchgear that currently manufactures.
Sure.
Maybe it was Alice Chalmers switchgear from 1940.
Okay.
Have you ever seen that gear?
Oh, yes, I have.
That's good stuff, right?
Yeah.
We had a customer that wanted training on Alice Chalmers 1940 switchgear. We have a relationship with a used equipment dealer. We went, found the switchgear that matched what they had.
No.
Took pictures because you can't get manuals for that anymore.
Right.
Built manuals to do the training on how to operate, maintain the gear.
No.
We shipped the equipment on a flatbed to their site in California.
Out.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
Did the training and then hauled the equipment home.
Oh, that is awesome.
So we're willing to do that on Eaton's equipment, on used equipment.
Oh, right? That is
whatever you need.
That's insane. So that was going to be my question. So what if I mean, that's old equipment, but even if you had like newer equipment that was, say, a competitive product, and you said, well, Eaton didn't get the job this time, but I have all this equipment and I need trained on it. You can still do something like that too.
So last year in Warrendale in Pittsburgh, right, our training center, some eyes gave me a little bit of an odd look when the flatbed showed up. And we brought in one of our competitors' current production switchgear, 3 sections across, brought it into the building on pallets, put it together, and we actually did training on the competitor's switchgear, as well as some of our equipment that they had, because it's a big facility that bought from multiple manufacturers. So
there must be, if I was Joe Schmuckatelli Manufacturing in Timbuk, whatever, say in West by God, Virginia. And I said, you know what? I'm going to call Mike up and I'm going to say, Mike, this is the stuff we have in the facility. You'll do what you can to figure out what you can get there. And then I'm sure you could sit down and say, look, it's a panel board, I can train you on our panel board as well as their panel board. A panel board is probably going to be very similar. There's probably some nuances, and you could address that.
And we've done some cross training where we've used the PowerPoint slides and pictures to show how it works in their equipment. And then we went out to the lab and showed them our equipment that was slightly different, but worked the same way.
Works the same way. So you could do stuff like that, but you would plan that out front. Figure out the package that you would be talking to the customer with, and then just lay it out and set up a date.
Yeah. So customer feedback I've received as to what the hardest part of working with the training team is.
What's that?
Is the meetings up front to define what the outline is.
Wow, yeah.
That's the hardest part.
And and that's the most important piece.
It is.
You don't want to show up and then have everybody leave and go, well, that's not even what we needed. That's a good point.
So we will take the time, sit down with you up front.
Wow.
Before we even quote a training, we'll sit down with them, work out what that outline is going to look like, and make sure we're all on the same page as to what that finished product will look like.
Well, that is huge. Now, another thing that I know you had over there and we played with a little bit last night, the Best in Show.
Best in Show, that's what we're talking about,
Oh, is that so?
That is up for the Best in Show competition for this event,
The Oculus?
The Oculus,
And so do we have an official name, or do we just call it the Oculus? Do we call it Oculi?
Well, right now we refer to it as either virtual simulation or the Oculus.
All right.
However, that's a little misleading because, so let me give you the background on how this all came to be.
Right.
So when COVID hit, we were actually a little ahead of our time. We were already trying to figure out how do we test our Eaton employees that are all across the U.S. and Canada, right?
Yeah.
Because we're close to Canada now. And we said, hey, let's try to build some computer simulation to test knowledge, where somebody had to operate a breaker after they did their JSA, right? Their job safety hazard analysis. Gotta do that first, right? And then they need to open the breaker. They need to apply locks. They need to check for the absence of voltage, apply grounds, right?
Yeah.
And we started working on a computer simulation on how to do that. And we built that, and we're rolling it out, believe it or not, right when COVID hit.
Wow.
So it was just dumb luck timing. Or maybe really good, smart timing, who knows?
Smart, yeah.
But we rolled that out to our field employees, and we saw the benefits of it. We also saw that, it's kind of clunky sometimes trying to do stuff with the computer.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So then we said, hey, how can we improve on this? And we said, you know what? Let's put it on a tablet, right? Because now the tablet, you can scroll, walk around.
You can use your hand,
You can use your hand, right? It's a little more than a mouse and a keyboard, right?
Yeah.
And we rolled that out to our internal employees. We also started selling that on the market a little bit, where we had some customers purchase it to do testing of their own employees, where we customized it for them with their PPE choices, their JSA, right? Their activity they wanted, and they, as an outcome, after the person took the test, got a report on each individual, pass, fail, and every step along the way, what they did right, what they did wrong, all that. Fast forward another year, we're looking at how do we improve again, right?
Yeah.
And that's where the Oculus comes into play. So in the Oculus world, you have the headset on, so you only see this virtual world.
Yeah.
You're holding controllers. You did that, right?
Oh, I did that,
right?
yeah.
For each finger, you have different buttons you can push to point, right?
I can point to press a button. I can grab, yeah.
Absolutely. And we built the virtual world into the Oculus, and we can do the same testing that we did on the tablet and computer based.
Oh, that's insane.
But we've also now started building tutorials, where in the tutorial, it'll walk you through step by step what you need to do to open, close the breaker, rack it in and out.
Right.
And it's not just visual. What a lot of people like is you actually hear all the sights and sounds. So when you hit open on the breaker, you actually heard the sound in your ear of it opening.
Nice.
So it's giving you live feedback, and we've programmed it. And this was one question I got today was, well, that's really great. It can do this. But, real world, you have two pieces of equipment wired together, like the trailer, right?
Oh, yeah.
Well, in the Oculus, we've built a one line with the equipment. You open the breaker, verify the absence of voltage downstream, it's gone. You close the breaker, voltage comes back.
Oh, nice.
So it's all been programmed into the background to work like a real system.
That is very nice. Now, you obviously need two people, because I know when you have that headset on, it's easy to walk around and get lost in the environment.
Well, okay. So I probably shouldn't say this, but we're beta testing right now a multiplayer version where a instructor can even pop into the room from across the country, see exactly what you're doing, and interact with you through the Oculus.
That is amazing.
Yeah. It's cool stuff.
And that opens doors. That you could teach someone how to do the shepherd's hook and release. There's not too many training programs around that.
You're right. Absolutely.
If you had two people in a virtual environment interacting with each other,
that'd be cool. And we're going there.
Best in show.
That's right.
That's best in show material.
Absolutely. Hey, I'll tell you what, it's great working on this stuff, seeing it progress and figuring out the little bugs in the code, right? Because coders are pretty good, but they make mistakes, right?
Oh, absolutely.
You find the bugs.
We're all human beings.
At one point you could walk out the one wall and you'd actually fall off a cliff into Netherlands.
Wow.
It was cool. So we fixed that bug though.
Wow, that's insane. That's insane.
So yeah, I was just saying the last thing I want to say, because people get a little worried sometimes when we talk virtual, is from the cruise.
We're live on YouTube. Yeah. You're afraid to ask the question? You have the button. Ask me about my paper mentoring. So what's your question? We have a question from Lloyd Gordon. Who in Eaton?
I'm involved with 2 Eaton issues.
Oh. By the way, I actually have answers for you, Lloyd.
He may have already answered.
Yeah. He's the right guy. Yep, he's the right guy.
I made some phone calls.
Tell me.
Well, you know what? Not right now, because
I'll give you names and
we're
phone
live right
numbers
now,
and emails. So yeah, we don't want this thrown out on the.
You don't want that out to the 4 million people who are watching. I love it.
All right, Lloyd.
This is such
the
a
last
good
thing I
group.
wanted to say.
Yes.
Before we move on,
Mike King.
the last thing I wanted to say was a lot of people get nervous about the virtual world sometimes, right? So I would never recommend that somebody completely replaces all their training with virtual. I don't want people to walk away with that, right?
You're right. Yep.
So how does the virtual training and testing fit into the bigger program, right?
Dovetail.
So we have new hires coming into industry.
Yep.
Maybe out of a tech school. Maybe out of a university, college, right?
Yep.
Maybe out of the military.
Yeah.
Don't have experience in the industry.
Sure.
And how do you train them? How do you get them to ask the right questions?
Yeah.
Well, you can put them in a virtual world now where they can play around. They can come up with those questions. And then when you put them in a class,
sure,
they can ask the questions, right?
Oh, absolutely.
And they're better suited to ask those questions.
Absolutely.
And then 10 years down the road, 15 years down the road, they're working on a piece of gear that they haven't touched in 5 years. And they got to write that breaker out, right?
Oh, yeah.
How do you do it? Well, step into the virtual world, spend 20 minutes, and get the refresher, right?
Absolutely.
So I would not replace the in-person hands-on class, but I would definitely mix it with virtual. And we have a question.
So Robert from Omaha wants to know, what about cybersecurity with virtual training?
Cybersecurity is an issue for sure. So we're dealing with that to make sure that behind the scenes, everything is coded properly so that only you as the end user has the access to your virtual simulation. So,
yes. Beautiful.
It's already written into the program.
See that, Robert?
Great question.
Like Anna Marie Albagetti, it's in there. I like it.
Because we actually have a whole cybersecurity team.
We have a whole cybersecurity team.
Doing it.
Max Wandera leads that up, and he does him and his team do a fantabulous job. Absolutely. Beautiful. Way to go, brother.
I was just here. I don't know. I mean, Tom, you're the real star here.
Thank you very much.
I've said that before.
Thank you for everything you do, buddy.
And for everybody out there, if you want to be Tom's friend, Diet Coke works, but he really enjoys Dr. Pepper.
Oh, my gosh. We're going to have Brett Brenner.
All right.
Come on, Brett. Get around here. Go around.
Brett, we'll get you all mic'd up here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mr. King.
Yep.
All right.